Welcome back. How was your break? How are the goodies, the food? Good. Caroline always is so accommodating. She's amazing, the stuff she makes. She makes this stuff in a dehydrator sometimes. That is amazing, amazing stuff. Always healthy stuff. So Caroline is a dear friend. I just rejoice at this relationship between Rick and Caroline, and they're two of the most conscious beings that I've ever known, and they totally share everything with each other with 100% honesty. To my experience, of course, you know, I'm not, you know, with them, but and they check everything out with each other, and they talk it through, and they tell the truth about when something bothers them, which is a real blessing, which I would encourage all of you to follow suit. What I love about, by the way, Rick is a great attorney, real estate transaction attorney, if you ever need one. He's a warrior. He fights for his clients, which is huge. He cares about winning. He's a surfer dude, too. So, you don't want to mess with surfer dudes. He really goes after the opponents and the adversary. Caroline is one of the most loving people I've ever known. She totally comes from her heart and from caring and making a difference, and something that's a value that we share. You know, she wants people's lives to be better quality in every way she possibly can. She hasn't had it very easy. She's had her ups, she's had her downs, she's had her addictions, she's had her obsessions, she's had her failures, she's had her successes, but she still comes from her heart and always trying to further herself, to improve herself. And you know, what I found is, like with me, the reason I think I do such a good job in sharing with people is because I've been through the fire myself. I've struggled and suffered and been down and negative and had a low self-image and not thought that I could do anything great. I grew up, you know, with a mom who didn't want a child and 9 stepfathers, and it was kind of miserable. But I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through. And Caroline is like that. So I couldn't recommend her higher if you're looking for somebody to coach you in any of the areas that she coaches people about: how to have a conscious relationship, how to meet your soulmate, how to make a really great profile online, or how to use Facebook and LinkedIn, you know, for your business and for your personal life. She's amazing, and she understands IT and YouTube and all of that. So she's a great resource, and she's fair. You can talk to her as well, and it's confidential as well. She hasn't spread my secrets around town, so it's fine. So she has a great background. She's a certified yoga instructor, certified Reiki master, certified relationship coach. But you know, I don't care much about people's credentials. I care about their heart and where they come from and how much they care and how much love and compassion they have. And this is a lady that I can't recommend highly enough. I love both of them, and I'm very honored to be their friend, and thank you for having me here and for trusting me enough to ask Rick, a question on the first date about how he felt about a hot, steamy lovemaking session that lasted 2 or 3 hours. Caroline Andrews, my dear friend.
Okay. Who has the gray Toyota?
In the driveway.
In the driveway?
No.
That's why I was asking her.
Oh, she's red car? Thing blocked.
But I'm behind like a red sports car.
Who has a red sports car? Lisa?
Red Porsche?
Lisa? Maybe I didn't look close.
You're behind me?
Yeah.
But you just
I
got
don't
here
think there's
though.
anyone
Yeah.
behind you now.
if you're the gray Toyota.
I'm not going anywhere.
Did you park in the drive?
I did, I parked right behind her though, I think.
Okay,
So,
so who,
It starts with a 6YEU.
no,
license
that is
plate.
me.
okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
Sorry.
No problem.
She had to
Okay,
leave.
huh? She had to leave, okay. Wow, that was, where's Ken? So embarrassing. Anyway, wow, so I was gonna say, what makes me an expert in relationship coaching? And Ken sort of touched on that in many ways, but what I want to share is that I had 2 failed marriages. I've been in a recovery program for on and off for many years. I had a teenage pregnancy, which caused me a lot of sexual shame, and being raised Catholic, that was really a big, huge wound that I carried with me for a long time. And I always sought ways to improve either my relationships or my issues. So through a lot of my pain, and I really mean pain, there was a lot of recovery, and healing that I sought for myself to become a better person. And having done that, moving forward, as I like to say, I was about, like some of you, ready to give up too on relationships because I didn't have a good track record. And I was scared as hell to start dating again after really being married for like the last 25 years. I just went from one to the other, which is another thing I did was rescues. I was good at being rescued by men. So the thought of going online and doing this dating thing was really scary. And Ken, being such a great friend, and at the time that I was starting to date, he was actually my landlord as well for the last house I lived in. And so he was kind enough to mentor me and coach me and give me that courage to go online and start dating. How many of you have done that or doing that online? Wow. And was anyone scared like me to do that? So first of all, the first thing was I was really sad to see so many people.
There's
I had a lot of, anyway, I don't know why I was sad, I was one of them, but I was blown away by the amount of people in my age bracket that were out there dating. So I got past that, and I really took the time to intentionally set out what I was going to put on that profile, because I do have high standards, and especially my spiritual life is really important to me, and how I show up for people. So I took a lot of time and researched, how to do that, and put a lot of intention into it, myself, and my own healing that I was doing, and meditating, and I even wrote out, the exact person that I wanted to attract. Really got specific. That was taught to me, and so when I did that, I started doing the online dating, and Rick was actually the 3rd person that I dated, by the way. He forgot. So I did go on 2 other dates, just one date with each of them, and nice men. I just wasn't a match, but it was exhausting. And I talked with both of them probably 2 or 3 times before I ever decided to meet them, for coffee, tea, or whatever it was. And after the second guy, I was going to take a break. Because I really thought that the way we connected, texting and talking and everything, he seemed like there were so many synchronicities that I thought this guy is it. And he wasn't it. So it was kind of a letdown, and I just took a break. And Rick we had done a little bit of correspondence online, and at that time it was Christmas or whatever, so he didn't want to meet with me until after, and that was perfect for me because I was really going to take a break and not even do it anymore. So for whatever reason, I really liked his profile, what he had to say, and so I thought, okay, this one last guy, what's that going to hurt? Why don't I just give him a shot and see what happens? Right? So we decided to go out it's January a year ago, and we met for lunch, and we had a 2-hour lunch, and there was just a lot of great I don't want to say, there's a lot of things about him that I really liked, and I think it was mutual, and I did that radical honesty with him. It's one of my favorite words, and I just like, you know, this is who I am, this has been my life, and at that point where I am, if he was going to walk away, I was fine with that, because I don't want to play games, and I don't want to not be, you know, who I am, and for some reason that he liked that, of being honest, and maybe that was a change. I don't know how women lie and say you're, you know, 10, 15 years younger when they're going to meet you. I don't understand that. You know, so I was pretty honest about all of that. I mean, your pictures, like, why would you put when you were 20, and, you know, if you're 40 or 50? So that part didn't make sense to me, so I was really honest, and, you know, he was too, and so the questions that Ken gave me, and luckily he has changed that where he's put it into categories. So some of the questions I asked Rick would probably be in one of the last categories, and it was really painful. And I think it was our third date, you guys. We sat in here, and I was just like, I didn't do it the way he told me. He knew I was asking him questions from a friend of mine. I was supposed to just like ask him as if, you know, I knew what I was doing. I was like, and I could just tell he was like, I'm going to ask you some questions. These are really difficult questions. You okay? And he's like, yeah. Well, you're an attorney. You should know. You should be used to being asked questions. But they were like, when I think about how I even got through that, like really intense. And I did ask about the sexually transmitted disease question. You know, so anyway, I did get through all that, and
Were you in the nurse outfit?
no, the stethoscope. Oh my God. I don't know how I got through that. Okay, I don't know how. But anyway, you know, were we lucky? Was it fate? I don't know. But we just really hit it off and had a connection, and you know, we've been together ever since. So was it Ken's questions? Was it all the work I did on myself? You know, getting there to being honest, you know, to me, it was all of those things. You know, it's not just a perfect slam dunk, you can do this and it'll work. You know, who knows what the reason is, but my whole love and attraction is to have what's called a conscious relationship. So does everybody know what a conscious relationship is? It's where you're actually, you know, being honest and real, and you're actually aware of your wounds from childhood, and you're able to not project so much of that pain maybe that you're suffering, you know, subconsciously onto the other person. So my favorite book of all time is Getting the Love You Want by Harville Hendrix. He does an amazing job of describing what an unconscious relationship is, which to me, most all of us, unless you're young like Chelsea, had experienced an unconscious, where we have the wounds from our childhood that we have to become conscious of before we can create, you know, that conscious relationship. So he'd read the book, you know, like that was a slam dunk, because that was a process that I went through with my second husband, hoping that, you know, he would want to grow and do this work with me. And it's not easy work. And he didn't want to go that deep, you know, because you really have to be willing to open your heart and be vulnerable, right? And sometimes those wounds are so great that it feels safer for people to, you know, keep you out. And that was just, I was not going to go through that again, because that was really important to me, for us to be real and to be honest and open with what our wounds were. So, moving forward, that's really what I love helping people do, is getting, you know, creating what is your ideal relationship, and what are you looking for, you know, in your mate, and why don't you have it? You know, what's happening, you know, in your life and in your heart that you haven't been able to create that yet for yourself? And then, you know, what are the steps we can take to get you there, to find that person or that soulmate, or usually, and what do you think it is? What do you think the biggest thing is that I had to do on me to heal me to attract that conscious man that I wanted to bring in. What did I have to do?
Love yourself.
Love yourself.
Love yourself. And is that easy to do? I mean, it's sad, but really we all have, those issues. And does it take time? And learning how to do that, right? And it's usually different for everyone, all those different rituals we go through to find what works best. And it's mind, body, and soul. We have to address all three areas to really bring yourself up to that level, that vibration, that you can find a conscious man that can meet you, right, to that degree. So how many of you have started that recovery, that healing path for yourselves? Yay, that's wonderful. So there's a lot of us out there that know that we have to address that in order to heal, right? So what I want to share, one of the rituals that I find that's important, and I talked about this in the flyer, is I went through a process called explosive sexual healing, where I actually did some healing work on that sexual shame that I shared. I had a baby when I was 17, and that was not a cool thing to do back in 1978, 79. That was really not socially acceptable, and I had to leave high school and all this stuff. So I carried this huge shame in me for many, many years, and that's really the shame that I acted out on by not knowing how to deal with that wound. So healing that sexual shame, this process that I was taught to go through is how to work on the sacral chakra, your second chakra, where that's our creativity, that's where our passion is, that's where our relationships are. Everybody kind of familiar with the chakras in that second. So healing that shame, one of the things that I was taught is part of self-care is masturbation. So that can actually be a really big taboo for some folks if you were raised Catholic, where I was shamed for doing that. So that was my first connection with sexuality and pleasure, was shame. We were literally punished, and that doesn't go over well. And so obviously, I acted out on that, because what do teenagers do when they're told not to do something? Right? Oh. Anyway, so learned a lot from that. And what I want to just share with you is this process. It's called arousal masturbation count. And what it does, it helps you get more in tune with your body, so that when you do practice masturbation, number one, it is actually a form of self-love. Did anybody not know that? Yeah, I know that's hard to believe, but as you learn to love yourself and, play with your sexual energy, you're going to be that much better of a lover when you do find the right partner to share that with, because you're going to know your body better. So one of the things we would do is have you, and this is for men too, create a really sacred space for yourself, and that would be lighting candles or setting soft music or whatever it is, so you feel really safe and nurtured in whatever form of masturbation that works best for you, whether it be with your hand or toy or whatever, water. I mean, women have all kinds of creative ways of doing that, and men do, I believe. To getting used to your body, you actually decide on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being nothing really, 10 being an orgasm. As you start to play and pleasure with yourself, you tune into your body to decide, where am I in my pleasure? Am I 1 or 5? And the way you can tell is by your sound, movement, and breath of how you're, adapting to your body. Now, obviously a 10 is orgasm. So the idea isn't really, am I doing it right? It's really to get more in sync with how your body feels. Because everybody's different, right? Our pleasure's different. Our touch is different. How we feel the pleasure is different. So it's going to be different for everyone. But you really just want to get in sync and start to learn what your body likes. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So one of the things that I like to share is when I was doing this work called explosive sexual healing, which I actually still do with a partner of mine as needed, when we would work with our clients, we would ask them what we're wanting to see is congruency. When we would do this part of the pleasure part, and congruency means what's going on internally, you're showing externally. Because how many people know that how you are in the bedroom is how you are in your life? So if you're really being expressive and genuine and real, then that's how you typically are in the bedroom. If you're suppressing, if you're faking, if you're not, you know, look at your life. Where are you? Are you congruent? And it was sad to see, you know, someone, as we start to help them with the pleasure, you know, a 3 looked like a 7. And like they're not in tune with what's going on, because what have they done? Culturally, they've learned how to fake it. Or they've been hurt by their partner and they don't feel safe enough to be who they are and to express themselves, right? Or it's wrong, or I can't, you know, make a sound or make a movement. And that's really the part of the healing that we were so passionate about teaching them, is to be self-expressed and let your body, you know, your body knows what to do. And people don't, you know, when you really let your body take over, it knows what it wants, and get out of your head. So we're always getting them out of their head, into their body, so they can feel their senses and start to really become congruent. And when you become congruent with yourself and with your, you know, sexuality, then you're really showing up fully for yourself mainly, and eventually, or if you're in a relationship, for the other person. And it just can really, really have an amazing impact on your own self-worth and self-esteem. Not easy, and but really worth the healing, you know, that we went through. So that's one of the ways that I like to practice self-care. And then the other thing is, and a lot of people don't realize this, is what is the greatest amount of energy that we create in our bodies? How do we create the greatest amount of energy? Orgasm. And people don't realize that either. I mean, think about women, you know, we're creators. We create life. I mean, what greater thing can you make than life from that from your creativity, from your second chakra, right? So you can take that knowing of that sexual energy and create from it. So what I was taught is, when you're in orgasm, ask for what it is you want to create while you're in orgasm. You know, be it, you know, more abundance, more prosperity, more power, love, whatever it is, claim it while you're experiencing the orgasm. Works the same for men. It's the same way. It's really tapping into that creativity of the second chakra and helping you manifest. That makes sense? Yeah. So based on sharing your creativity and your love, how is that going to help you heal? Do I have an idea?
Well, just the energy you create will heal.
Yeah.
Will bring in good energy.
Yeah, and you'll be more, you know, positive. Your energy, you know, people will want to be in your space, because that love is a vibration. And everybody knows about vibration, right? And so I always tell people, like, don't look for something, you know, look for a mate that you're not already those same qualities, right? Because we're always saying all these things we want to attract, but look in the mirror. You know, if you don't have every one of those, how are you going to attract that without doing all that work on yourself, right? Because everybody, you know, all your relationships are mirrors for who you are. So that was another really, you know, huge awareness, as I had this amazing list, you know, that I wanted to bring in. I'm like, okay, gee, can I, you know, match that? Am I all these qualities that I want to find in my mate, right? So I better, like, be really real and honest with myself and what I'm trying to bring in. And the cool thing was, Rick had done the same thing. So I did that list like in November, and I met him in January last year. And then he did the same thing for the qualities of relationship he wanted to bring in, like a couple months before I did them. And so it's really true. I mean, you can really ask, when you set that intention and you come from your heart, you can, to me, and that's what he and I have shared. I'm like, oh my God, I want this for everyone. I want people our age to not give up, because I was about to give up. I mean, as you all know, it's not easy. Relationships aren't easy, but where do we get our biggest amount of growth? Right? It's way easier to be single, isn't it? Yes, I'm getting that. I mean, it's way easier not to have to, compromise or find ways to commune with someone. But you also don't get the great, emotional and spiritual growth, right? Until we're in a relationship and someone challenges, in every level. So I just sincerely love relationship coaching. I was doing some sexual healing work this last year with a partner. Still love that. That's still unbelievably transformational work. But my business partner doesn't live here, so we're not doing it as regularly as we had. And there's some women here that have experienced that, so I know they too feel that it's been huge. It's profound for me. It really shifted me into being able to be on my own and not being in that rescue mode that I was in pretty much my whole life, of not feeling secure on my own. And yes, Ken's questions were like, I don't want to say life-changing for me, but I'm grateful that he did mentor me and support me through that transition as I was starting to date. And I know that he's refined those questions to where, like I said, the ones that I asked would be at the end. Because I realized like our relationship went a lot faster because of those questions that were asked so quickly on, where I said I never would have moved that fast. So he realized that for a lot of people that was too much, so to pull it in, reel it in, and now he realizes it. But I'm grateful too that he created them, and they were very helpful, and I think he has done an amazing job with the book too. Aren't we all ready to see that book? Guess how long he's been writing the book? Anybody want to guess? 7, 8 years? Yeah. Come on, Ken, release the book. I think in a month or so. You're hoping? That was the last one that you were going to rewrite, right?
It's finished now. I'm just working on the cover, and then I've already retained Create Space division of Amazon to go ahead and publish it. So.
Yeah, I really want to say that these questions are amazing, and it's well worth his $14.95 to get them, because they're very creative. And now, who's actually going to use them? Like he said, what do you want to bring in your life, and how much do you value your time, right? And the women and men that are going to start dating, yeah, didn't you love those questions, Rick?
I was a little taken aback, I must say.
No, I know.
But I did appreciate that it forced us to get to that radical honesty very fast, very fast.
Yes.
Can you tell them that everything on the list that you wrote, he matches and vice versa?
Oh, the list that we created for each other?
Yeah.
I think I should, well, I was talking about the questions that he asked.
But going back to like everything from what you said to me, everything that you wrote that you wanted, he matches, and everything that he wrote.
Yes, that's true. So why do you think that is?
Because you did the work. And you help people call in their exact partner. I wanted you to share that.
You can't tell she's my
Because
daughter,
you
right?
did that,
Yeah.
and that's amazing.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this your daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah.
even know that.
And I never know if that was like a fluke. Like, did that really, but I really did do a ton of work on myself, but was that, I don't know, but that was what I was taught, set the intention. I did meditations, and that's what I love teaching other people how to do, because I want this love for everybody. Do we not, Rick?
Yes, we
I mean, we
do.
just say like, we do. We want everybody to experience this. It's too amazing. And, we both had a lot of, heartache in our past, and failed marriages, and a lot of people give up. You know, and I just like, don't give up. It's worth the wait. Really, I say that sincerely. It's worth the wait. So, what I want to share there, I do have 2 other upcoming events that are going to be here. One is tomorrow, where I'm hosting the formulator of sea vegetables. He's going to come talk about women's health, breast cancer, and hypothyroidism. And the other workshop is another really favorite author of mine, Robert Burning. He wrote a book called The Dance of Wounded Souls, and he's a codependency addiction expert. And he's taken like 12-step codependency, spirituality, and inner child healing and combined it into one. And it's brilliant the way he teaches people how to heal from codependency. And to me, the inner child part of the wounding is a huge part when you are doing the healing process to not leave out. You know, I know 12-step programs are great and they have the spiritual principles, but he brings in that other part that to me is crucial, because he teaches you how to feel your feelings and process the grief and the pain and the anger. Because tell me, and a lot of people come in that I work with have unbelievable anger, almost rage, because they were never able to feel the pain from their childhood. And he does an amazing job of teaching people how to go through that process. Those are the 2 different things. And I know Ken and I in March will do another event, hopefully for this book launch, right, Ken? So that'll be coming up too. And Chelsea is going to pass around a list. So if you're interested in learning more about my online profile coaching or relationship coaching, I do offer like a 30-minute free consult just to see if it's a match or to answer questions, help you with maybe an issue that you're having. I work with couples that are having problems, single people that are looking for their right partner, and people that are already starting to date and just have issues like Ken was saying, if you haven't gotten to the 82 questions to ask them yet, to help you cipher out, like, is this really the person that you want to continue to date? So
I'll be right back there
yes.
by the check-in table.
Yeah. And does anybody have any questions, either for Ken or myself, that you didn't get to ask? Yes.
I kind of curious. You keep talking about inner child healing, like everybody had problems growing up.
Yeah.
And
You didn't?
no, no, I don't. So it sounded like everybody must have that, but not everybody has had bad childhood that they need to get past or anything. Mine's
Yeah.
more adulthood.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, not everybody has had, but
Yeah.
everybody has gotten some type of, well, my understanding, I'll just put it this way, from what I understand is we don't always get out of childhood without not having all of our needs met. So it's more of a range, like some people, have had horrible abuse, and some people just, parents stay together or this or that.
Oh,
Yeah,
very unique family.
yeah.
I'm one of 6.
Oh, same
And a sibling, and none of us have ever had an argument as an adult. I mean, kids, do kid stuff, but no, very unique. Our whole family's very close, nieces and nephews, and no, it's pretty good.
No arguments ever.
So I was
as an
very
adult.
lucky that way.
Yeah, very lucky. And how have you done with relationships?
Lately, not so good.
Yeah,
But I'm just kind of floating it right now.
yeah.
Trying not to worry about it, and I have done a lot of work on myself.
Good.
So
Good. Yeah,
it'll happen when it happens.
yeah. Yeah.
One of the things I heard, even if you had a intact family and you felt you had no problem, you could have been woundings at school as a child, and those things affect you.
Yeah.
And teach you
Well,
very
everything in
little.
life affects you one way or
Well, I
another.
know, but I
It's just
think
that,
sometimes as a child,
Mhm.
and I understand that wounding is a place that we don't go to until we see things happening continually in our adult life.
Yeah. Good. Yes, Catherine.
If you have a relationship, if you've had a great childhood, but you're going to have a relationship with someone else, the likelihood that they have had something in their childhood, you're still going to have to deal with it. So one way or another, you're gonna deal with it with your coworkers, you're gonna deal with your relationships, it's gonna come up. And the ability, and empathy is the key to being able to connect with someone. So whether you're developing your empathy because you wanna learn more about what someone went through that maybe you don't understand, but by learning more about it with a coach can be an effective way to actually create the connection, since shame grows in silence, secrecy, and judgment, and dissolves in empathy. So sometimes it's worth it to get the background just so you can be prepared to show up with love.
Yeah, thanks, Catherine. What, Chelsea?
I was just going to share that my experience has been that, so I'm recently married. I'm still in my almost, at our first year anniversary. And what I've found is that in my relationship with him, and also in all of my relationships, I'm reflected everywhere that I have been wounded that I didn't even know. And I didn't have any huge abuse, or really had no awareness of where I had been wounded until I was probably like 19. And it had an eating disorder and all this weird stuff that was happening in college, and I was like, what's wrong? Why is this happening? And then I realized that all my relationships were reflecting pieces that needed to be healed. That I didn't even know that those things had happened. It was weird. But anyways.
I just have to say, and when I say that, then everybody comes back at me going, well, of course you had something when you were a child that you've got to get over with. You know, several people have said that. And it's like, really, people, just be happy for me. No. No, I've worked on myself for many years, and I had 2 very dysfunctional marriages. One 20 years and one almost 11 years. But those were just the married years. And those were very dysfunctional because both of them had very dysfunctional lives, and that's why they did the things that they did. They cheated, they drank, became an alcoholic, the other one became a sex addict, in addition to porn. Yeah, but I'm smart enough to know that they're not going to take me with them. So, I have to say that, I don't think everybody's had some kind of hidden things in their life.
When you said you worked on yourself, so what did you work on? I'm just, when you worked on yourself.
Recovery from the marriages, I think, yeah. My kids do great, they've never been a problem, I don't have the stress that a lot of people have.
Yeah.
So, I'm not worried about getting in another relationship. Doesn't mean I don't trust again, I do completely trust.
Right. Yeah.
Everybody's different.
Yeah, I agree. It's wonderful. That's what I want, like I said, for everyone to be happy, joyous, and free.
Whether they're with somebody or not.
Absolutely.
Yeah, single or...
Yeah. Especially, knowing to love themselves first. That's the main thing. That's what I had to learn how to do. Yeah.
Are you going to post the events you talked about on Meetup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, put them on there.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
I just wanted to say thank you to Caroline,
Yeah.
dear friend of mine, and to Ken and Rick. And I just feel that people are brought together for reasons, and I feel very grateful to be here in this abundance of care. And I do feel that life is about learning, and to be joined with all of you, and to people that have shared and opened up and have not. I just feel very positive about this, and I thank you for being such a good example and a coach for me.
Thank you, Lisa. Yeah, Lisa and I go way back. Yeah.
I'm going to stay around as long as people want to chat or ask questions or...
Take orders, right? Yeah.
So what's the difference between the e-book and the real book?
There you go.
Oh boy. The other book is more focused on enhanced female orgasms, how to go from either no orgasms or one orgasm or having difficulty, how to make it a conditioned habit so that every time you make love, no matter who you're with, no matter what room you're in or what activity you're performing, you always have as many orgasms as you want. And to get people to a place from having difficulty with it to being effortless and joyful. And more intense and more fulfilling than they've ever had, to combine it with heart-centeredness and love and what have you. And it takes people through a step-by-step process to learn to do that step by step. And it takes couples through a process of learning to do that for each other, with the same kinds of questioning and gauging and being specific, and then making agreements between them so that they know what they can count on, all built within a framework of safety and trust and love.
So one book vibrates and one doesn't?
It depends on how you answer question 32.
Good one, Lisa. Oh my God. Good question. Yeah. I was like, yeah, how will they want, we know if they want to get the book or not? Just
We'll
based
just
on-
have to do another workshop.
You know, and how many chapters are in that book?
Well,
This is
there
one
were,
chapter, right?
One long
Yeah.
one.
This
Yeah.
chapter, yeah, it's like 76 pages. Where is that thing, right? But how many chapters are in the book? Oh, there's a lot.
there are 34 major chapters, but they have subheadings. There were 104, and then one of my best friends said, "Ken, you're an idiot. You know, you can't have 104 chapters in a 32-page book." No, that's a joke. It's about 325 pages. But there's 34 major chapters now.
Okay.
And each one is about topics that are really important to relationship and loving yourself and forgiveness. And it's not just about, you know, sexual techniques and communication. There's a lot more. You'll be a different heart-centered person when you finish.
Ken, what's your background, your educational background in writing your book?
I was a slut. Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, all you need to know.
No, I
in the field.
didn't bring it. Would you like me to read you the chapter headings?
Yeah.
I did bring the chapter headings, just in case anybody asked.
He also, I know he won't mind me telling you this, but Ken, he has the biggest collection, can I tell him?
Yeah, sure, you can tell them.
Of female toys. So much so that the museum in San Francisco calls him to ask him, no, we're talking like 30 years worth of toys.
Are any on sale today?
I mean, ones you can't even find. He was supposed to bring some to show us.
He could open his
He
own
wouldn't
hustler
even-
store, right?
Huh? I have no idea how but he's collected them for like 30 years. Right?
Did any of you ever see the movie? It's a fantastic movie called Hysteria.
Yeah.
It's in fact in the new book that I started. It tells the history of vibrators, and it's hysterical. It's a wonderful movie, and it's not just about orgasm and toys. It's got an amazing love story and connection and a surprise ending, and it tells the story of the guy who invented vibrators, and he was an MD.
Yeah.
And hysteria was huge and rampant, and anxiety, and basically women would come and that they were hysterical and had anxiety and every other kind of disorder, and he vibrated them to orgasms, and it's hysterical, but it's actually a true story.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend the movie. You can check it out at the library if you don't want to buy it. It's on Super Chillin' for free. But I couldn't recommend it higher. It's a ride. You'll pee in your pants, literally. Yes, sir.
One of my buddies from high school gave my wife and I for a wedding gift a vibrator. So I say that my wife fell in love with it and left me. It's a joke. I mean,
Well, it's not a joke. One of the chapters in my book, even though vibrators really have their place, that to be really careful with vibrators, because the best-selling vibrators on the market ever, like the Hitachi and some of those, they're way too powerful. And if you get accustomed to that strong a vibration, You know, I teach men and women to really touch gently and lightly, unless they're into, you know, a little pain, a little pressure, yeah, but to really even use a pinky, you know, for 15 minutes. And to be really light, because if you can get conditioned to being able to orgasm with light touch, it opens up a whole new world where the only thing you can do is this jackhammer. If you can only get off with that, it's not going to be easy to, you know, have multiple and continuous orgasms with manual light touch or with oral sex or any of that. So the nice thing is that people that have conditioned themselves to way too much intensity and vibration, you can retrain yourself in about 30 days, and I go into that in the chapter, how to do that so that you can experience what it's like to be gentle and slow and loving. And once in a while you may want more, but I teach couples to ask each other and to coach each other, honey, you know, 1 to 10, how's that feel? And to really pay attention and try to meet your partner's needs and what they love in a way that they've never been paid attention to before, never been made love to before. So I'm going to read you a couple of the chapters, if you're okay with that. Anybody that needs to go, I understand. I'll read fast also. Chapter 1, different kinds of female orgasms. Most women can become orgasmic and multi-orgasmic. 5 different kinds of female orgasms. Different kinds of female and multiple continuous orgasms. Chapter 2, female general anatomy and orgasms. All women's clitorises and vaginas are not created equal. The distance between your clitoris and your vagina impacts your ability to have multiple orgasms. Foreplay, non-sexual teasing and sexual touch and arousal. Teasing your lover until they beg, one of my favorites. Spend 5 times longer on foreplay than on sex. Humor is great foreplay. Kissing. It's 4 chapters on kissing, actually. Kissing and communicating magic. The first kiss, negotiating your first kiss, and first kiss nightmares. They're my own first kiss nightmares. Oral sex. Guys need to be great at giving oral sex. Here's how. Women need to become great at oral sex. Here's how. And it's really detailed, long chapters. You think my questions are detailed? You will be able to please any lover like they've never been pleased before, the way they want to be pleased. So my 11th commandment is a little different. It's not treat unto others as you would have them do unto you, because we're all different. Treat unto others as they would have you do unto them. And find out exactly, honey, does this feel better at 1 o'clock or at 2:30? 1 to 10, am I just too hard? And it doesn't take long before, you know, you're a master of each other's bodies and each other's orgasms. Comparing your orgasms with other women's. Just one orgasm heals a lifetime of never having an orgasm. You have no idea how many women on the planet have never experienced an orgasm and have given up. I have never in my life, in my experience, I've met way over 100 women that have never had an orgasm, and not one of them remained that way. So it's changeable. It's easily changeable if you're really committed, and if you don't give up. If you're giving up, nobody can help you. Once you decide that I'm done, nobody can help. The mysteries and controversial G-spot, advantages and disadvantages of female ejaculation. Sexual communications that are turn-ons. How to become a heart-centered master lover. My own erotic and G-spot philosophy and strategy. 106, we don't have to go there, we went there. It's all about your partner's pleasure. Sexual agreements and commandments. The most important love commandment, I just gave it to you. Sex agreements that couple need to make that will guarantee that you get your sexual needs met and avoid conflicts. Controlling your blood flow. This is really great for health, but it's also one of the keys to multiple and continuous orgasms. Enhancing orgasms while warding off migraines. Orgasmic and health benefits of learning to control, direct your blood flow. Massage and non-sexual touch. Most people are starved for non-sexual touch. Couples massage is one of the best forms of foreplay. What am I feeling right now? Caroline's work is amazing at getting you in touch with what you're feeling at every moment and being able to share and communicate that. How to feel loved. She's really great at that. Focus only on what is fun and makes you feel loved. How to make you and your partner feel loved. How to create chemistry and attraction. One of our guests talked about 36 questions that can make you fall in love with somebody. There have been studies about that, and in an hour and a half you can fall in love with somebody. I also warn you not to do that too early and too prematurely because you get bonded to the wrong person. It's easy to get into toxic relationships. It's really hard as hell to get out of them. 11 years, 22 years. It's a lot of time and energy. Oxytocin, best friend to you and your lover. Overcoming premature ejaculation. 70 million premature ejaculator guys on the planet. In the United States, excuse me. Show you how to fix that. You don't have to dump them because, you know, they learned as a young man to just spill their seed way too often because they were rushing and wanted to make sure the parents didn't know. Just a conditioned habit and one that can be changed. Why I recommend against 93, how many of you have read the trilogy of 50 Shades of Grey? How many of you saw the movie? 93% of the population approves of all of the stuffs in 50 Shades of Grey, including little Dr. Jewish Fruit Schlesinger. She says, it's good, tie up your friend, you know, torture her, you know, spice up your relationship. So most of my editors and publishers said, Ken, you can't go against 93% of the population. People think you're an ass and they won't buy your book and they won't read it. And I said, you know, I've seen so many marriages and relationships break up because people force their partner, you know, to get into threesomes and foursomes and force them to get into porn and force them to dress up and force them to get into S&M and kink and dressing up in leather and the swinging sex clubs. And I don't have any judgment about any of that. If you're into that, cool. But if you want relationship, that stuff is so addictive. It's like drugs. It takes more and more and more of it to satisfy you. So I have a relative who has been into that since he was 7. He hasn't had intercourse with a woman for 21 years and has no interest in doing it. He just wants to tie him up and get him off, and he has no interest. And that's okay. That's his gig, and he got into it and got addicted to it. But all of this stuff is highly addictive, and normal lovemaking, which is beautiful and amazing, it's never enough. It's like getting started with marijuana or heroin or cocaine.